What's up, my fellow small business supporters? It has been far too long since I have done a video about our boy Tony Robbins.
Stop saying bah bah. And he fucking roars.
And it's also been far too long since Monica and I have done a collaboration. One of the biggest collaborations that Monica and I ever did together was exposing Tony Robbins in the first place. So when I learned some disturbing news about what Tony Robbins had been up to in the wake of a global pandemic, I was like, we gotta collab again. Today, Monica and I are going to be talking about Tony Robbins again. Make sure you guys subscribe to Monica. Her channel name is now Monica Hayworth. She's still doing anti-MLM and true crime content, and her channel is linked in the description below, and she is just awesome. Another quick note before we get started is that today's video has a sponsor. This video was brought to you by the Gray and Gold podcast. If you're in need of a new podcast for your commute or your morning walks or just when you're sitting around chilling, then look no further. This podcast is hosted by RK Gold, who's an author and music reactor, and Graydon Square, who is an indie rapper and musician, and the two of them are fantastic. If you like videos where I bash Tony Robbins, like, their podcast doesn't bash Tony Robbins, but like it has the same energy as what I'm doing. I don't know if that makes sense, but like if you like my videos, you'll love their podcast, I'm pretty sure. Check it out, linked in the description below. It is available on all streaming platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of them. Link down below. Give it some love. It's a great podcast. In addition, today's video was brought to you by my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. Y'all, my top tier patrons, $5 a month and up, have their own channels or social media pages or websites linked in the description below, so make sure to check that out as well. Now let's get into the video.
Get you some nuts.
There was lots of memes.
Makes me wonder if I should pick up lesbianism.
Chicago. You guys asked for it.
Y'all, I've got my Life Happens 3U mug right here because Tony Robbins says that life shouldn't happen to you, it should happen for you. And then Rachel Hollis plagiarized him and also said that, but I don't feel bad for him because Tony Robbins sucks. Life Happens 3U, take the average of 2U and 4U. So we have discovered that in the name Tony Robbins, if you swap out the vowels, you get tiny ribbons. Mm-hmm. And that's beautiful, so I'm gonna just call them Tiny Ribbons from now on.
Okay, so it's funny because I say that in some of my videos now too, but then sometimes I clarify like Tony Robbins because sometimes people, they haven't watched my channel before, and I'm like, oh, I should probably clarify that that's actually Tony Robbins, but Tiny Ribbons, you know. So y'all, Tony Robbins went on a podcast and claimed that he saved one of his employees' life from COVID. She says that he did not save her life from COVID, and in fact, he made it impossible for her to go back to work after COVID, and is suing him for, like, wrongful discrimination. So, it's just fun to see how Tony Robbins views himself versus how other people view him.
Yep.
So, I have a couple articles about this that we can read and discuss right here.
If anyone that's watching this hasn't watched the last collab that Sappy and I did about tiny ribbons, you should definitely watch that because I feel like that's a good introduction if no one has ever heard of him, of who he is and just how problematic he is.
Yes, so if you watch the Have on Monica's channel, we go into how he was like disregarding the Me Too movement, and like when women would come forward with cases of sexual misconduct, he would be like, every time women do this, it just makes me not want to hire them. And like he was just being like the absolute worst. And on my channel, we watched his documentary called I'm Not Your Guru.
Give me a roar. That's the fucking roar!
Which is a strange name because he's definitely trying to be a guru in it and trying to manipulate people into changing their life for him. And it's very strange. It's very cult-like. So definitely watch those. I'll link the playlist up here. It's called Tony Robbins Exposed.
I wonder if he was doing the whole not your guru thing as like a reverse psychology or like a subliminal message to be like, I'm not trying to be your guru, but you're going to remember me as your guru.
Yeah, I think it's a branding thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And don't forget to
also
roar.
Rocking roar.
got this book.
Oh no.
Tiny Ribbons' book, Money, Master the Game, 7 Simple Steps to Financial Freedom. I haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to be reviewing it on this video. However, I am going to be making another video to review this book. After I have so many other books, I got to read Ponzinomics first, and I've got to read a bunch of other books first. But yeah, so I got this one from a used bookstore, y'all. Used bookstore. When you want to buy books by these business gurus, buy them from the used bookstore, because that way you support your local used bookstore, and you also don't put more money in their hands.
Yep.
But I think it's wild that he's like 7 simple steps to financial freedom. There's nothing simple about this. This book is over 600 pages long. This is like a War and Peace level self-help book. 7 simple steps to financial freedom.
It's just 600 pages for 7 ways. Like, that's just...
I opened it to this page where there's a Venn diagram that has herd of sheep, teenage girls, and investors. He has a page on his website about how to succeed in network marketing. He has like his business coaching services, which I found out cost a lot of money. Like,
holy crap!
Yeah,
14,500.
That's for a year of that's for 36 sessions. That's not very much, actually. Like,
well, I mean, it's not a lot for what you're getting. There is something that you're going to get out of it, but as soon as I saw that number, I was like, oh my gosh.
Apparently, according to this review, Tony Robbins will not even be your coach. You will almost never talk to him.
Oh, okay.
So it's called Unleash the Power Within, Behind Tony Robbins' Dangerous Approach to the Pandemic. So, the story Tony Robbins told on his podcast was harrowing, if also a little convoluted. One of his staff members had come down with a fever of 102 when she started watching the news and freaking out. She went to the hospital, presumably with COVID-19, and began to hyperventilate. The doctors put her on a ventilator, then in a medically induced coma. The doctor said if she doesn't wake up in 3 weeks, we'll declare her dead, Robbins recounted. The self-help guru has been researching coronavirus treatments and decided pressure from ventilators could damage the lungs. I'm not saying these people are trying to harm. I think they're all trying to help, but the research is now showing a very different component there, he said on the Tony Robbins podcast. So, Robbins asked a physician friend to call the hospital and convince the woman's doctors to lower the pressure. As a result, 4 or 5 days later, she opened her eyes, which we're grateful for, and she's still in the hospital, but she's healing. This episode fit neatly into Robbins' self-aggrandizing coronavirus narrative. Since the early days of the pandemic, he'd been suspicious of the hysteria surrounding COVID-19. He told employees in late March that the flu was worse than coronavirus, adding, "We have lost our minds on this." He also hosted 2 events amid the crisis. So yeah, Tony Robbins is like ignoring it at first and now is all like, I saved this woman from it.
I can't.
So as a coach, Robbins always taught people that they had the ability to change their lives, not their wives or pastors or priests. The story he told on his podcast highlighted how little doctors knew about the illness they were supposed to be treating and underlined his own heroism in saving her life. But according to a new federal lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York, the tale was largely fabricated. Debbie Costa, the employee in question, is suing Robbins and his company, saying he lied about his part in her recovery and made it impossible for her to return to work. This is so, like, not surprising for him that he'd be like, look at me, I am God, I saved this woman from COVID. And then she's like, no, actually, you made it worse, Tony.
Yeah, that's just... I really have no words for that. Because, and then the fact that he hosted events, but were they in-person events or were they virtual events?
It said that they were, over here, it says that they're 2 in-person.
Oh, in-person meetings.
Yeah,
okay.
But they were in compliance with the regulations regarding COVID. So I guess depending if people were distanced enough and had masks on and stuff, then maybe it was okay, but it was probably not safe.
Yeah, I don't think it was safe because that's a spokesperson, so you never know. They might be kind of, you know, kind of covering up allegedly some things.
Allegedly. No, we're not accusing Tony Robbins of anything. We just don't like him.
Yeah, definitely don't like him. Definitely don't like him.
So, okay, so the complaint lays out a starkly different picture of Tony Robbins than the inspirational coach he plays on social media. It says his organization refused to let Costa return to work part-time while she was recovering from COVID-19 and dealing with a recent cancer diagnosis. Instead, roughly 3 months after Costa got off a ventilator, the complaint alleges her managers gave her an ultimatum: return to work full-time or lose her job and health insurance.
Yeah, and she kind of needs health insurance if she's sick.
Especially, like, if she's been going through cancer
yeah.
and she had COVID, like... I make sure I understand this. So cancer weakens your immune system, right? And so then COVID would, like, those compounded, it seems like a much greater risk of death. Yeah. So she needs health insurance, dude.
Yeah, because she was immunocompromised.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's just terrible. I wonder if has he responded to that? Like, has he talked about this lawsuit?
I don't know. I have this other article here from the New York Times that we can also look through about how he was, the lawsuit accuses Tony Robbins of discriminating against an employee who got COVID. I just love to look at this one because I love how he claims that he saved her. He's like, he's like, I knew that the doctor put the pressure too high on the ventilator, so I called them and told them not to, and I saved my employee's life. And she's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, like, I'm suing you.
Like, actually, I'm suing you because you made that up and also didn't let me come back to work, so... Yeah. Dude. Oh my god. His face just makes me angry now.
I know.
Against his face. Like, if someone out there looks like Tony Robbins, I wouldn't hate you automatically. I just now know what a kind of guy he is, so I see him and I'm like,
yeah.
Stop being so proud of yourself.
A lot of people, when they watch the collab that we did together, the last one, a lot of people, they comment on his voice and they're like, I can't stand his voice. And I'm like, you know what? Now that you pointed it out, it really bothers me too.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
He's always screaming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say, that he's like constantly speaking or screaming at these events and these conferences and stuff like that you're gonna lose your voice eventually.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he still has like any vocal cords. Like he's like screams constantly at everybody.
Yeah, he does. And he roars. I bring that up every single time that I talk about Tony Robbins. I'm like, yep, he roars too. He really likes to roar.
Okay, so a sales executive who was placed on a ventilator while in a coma says she was denied accommodations to work from home as she recovered. Tony Robbins, the life coach and motivational speaker, discriminated against one of his employees by refusing to grant her the accommodation she needed to work from home after she contracted a debilitating case of COVID-19 in the spring. The lawsuit charges that Mr. Robbins falsely claimed to have helped the employee recover by asking a doctor friend of his to intervene in her care after she was placed on a ventilator in a medically induced coma. The lawsuit, filed in federal court in Manhattan, accuses Mr. Robbins, his company Robbins Research International, and his wife, Bonnie P. Robbins, who is known as Sage, of violating several disability laws, including the Americans with Disabilities Act, which requires reasonable accommodations for people with disabilities.
How old is Tony Robbins?
That's a good question. Oh, dude, he's 60.
He's 60?
I wouldn't have guessed that. Like, he doesn't...
Me either.
Something must be keeping him young.
Maybe it's all of the screaming.
Screaming keeps you young. Everyone who's got mad at me on YouTube saying you're too loud. You need to talk quieter. Nope. I'm going to stay young forever like Tony Robbins.
He does not look 60. Really?
That's what it says on Wikipedia. He was born in... Oh, this is weird. He was born in 1960. 1960 is 60 years ago now. That's wild.
Yeah, that is pretty
He was
wild.
also born on Leap Year Day. That's interesting. So Tony
Oh, wow.
Robbins, maybe being born on leap year day, dude, that's what's got to keep you young, because he's 60, but like he's actually like, what's 60 divided by 4, right? It's like,
Yeah.
he's actually 15. Because he's only had 15 actual birthdays in his life.
That means that like you get to enjoy it even more because you can make an even bigger deal out of it. If I were born on, yeah, like that's what I would do. I'd be like, okay, well, I want to go have a really big party because I only get to have one every 4 years. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, me too. I would have like a huge, like, I would like rent out some kind of like big
Bouncy house.
Bouncy house. I was thinking of like a event venue where you have like a wedding or something, but bouncy house is better.
I'm a giant child. I can't help it.
No, that's an even better idea. That would be so fun.
I would totally do a bouncy house.
Oh my god, Tony Robbins. Well, I hope for his 60th/15th birthday this past leap year day that he had a giant bouncy house.
I would get a bouncy house. Heck yeah. He'd probably do perfectly fine in a bouncy house too, because he doesn't even look his age. So he'd just be bouncing around, you know, having a good old time. Just make sure to take your shoes off.
Now I'm picturing Tony Robbins in a bouncy house.
Oh my god.
Like, I want life to happen for me, right?
I was just gonna say that.
Well, it makes sense because his birthday is every 4 years, right? So that's where the for you comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. The employee, Despina Costa, who worked for Mr. Robbins for 18 years. Oh, dude, she worked for him for 18 years.
Wow.
The first 9 in Europe and the last 9 in the U.S., where she had a job in New York as a sales executive or personal results specialist. It sounds like a job title Tony Robbins would make up.
Yep.
Not like, no, your job is not sales, it is personal results specialist. Just put together a bunch of words that mean nothing and then they can mean anything.
Oh my gosh. So I wonder what her job really entailed then. Because if you think about it, okay, personal results specialist. If she's, let's say that is like a separate thing and she's doing sales and that. So would that mean that maybe she's talking to people and trying to find out, like, are they actually having results from this program?
Yeah, maybe. I didn't know if, like, personal results specialist maybe is his convoluted way of saying, like, people who sell my programs to other people are going to help this person have good results. Therefore, if you are selling it to them, then you are making the personal results.
Yeah.
So you are not in sales. You are creating results. It's like supposed to focus on the outcome rather than the action or something.
That actually makes more sense too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just hate when people make their job sound like something it's not. Like, if you're going to be doing sales, call it sales. If you're going to, just call it what it is. That's what I noticed, like, when I would find hidden MLMs on Career Builder, it was always jobs that had weird titles that made them sound more interesting than they were, because in reality, it was just direct sales. But it would call it, like, I don't know, like, product marketing event specialist. Or something. But really it meant like you're going to host parties and have a downline for a stupid like juice product or something.
Yeah, I actually, when I first graduated college, I went to a vector marketing interview and they had like, I forget exactly the title, but it was like something marketing specialist. So me thinking, because I was like, oh, that was one of my concentrations. So that would be pretty cool. Like, I'm actually going to do something with my degree. And then I get there and it's like, yep, you're going to go like door to door selling knives to people. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We've got, at the start of the pandemic, the lawsuit claims Mr. Robbins downplayed the severity of coronavirus and pushed his team to continue selling in-person events. Of course he did. Of course he did. And then this employee, Miss Costa, claims she voiced concerns about the approach, but was ignored. Okay. It's a very different story than Tony's story about how he saved her life.
Yep. Really different.
In April, Miss Costa, 52, developed a high fever and was found to have COVID-19. She was placed in a medically induced coma from April 12th through May 1st while being treated first at New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital and then at New York Presbyterian Hospital. She struggled to recover, finding it difficult to walk or to hold a cell phone. Ms. Costa tried to return to work on July 1st and asked her supervisor and a human resources official if she could work just a few hours a day as she recovered and built back her strength, she said in an interview. They said no to that. Since July, Ms. Costa said she has been able to get access to her work email or the company's database where the information about the client she served is stored. Without that access, she has been unable to work, and she had been earning $250,000 a year. Oh, dude. And now she's just like lost all of that. Oh my God. That's horrible.
Wow. That is a really big amount of money.
I think she was like one of his like top sales leaders. Yeah. So I think,
had to have been.
and if she was working for him for 18 years, then like it makes sense she would have moved up in the company pretty far. That's a lot of money to suddenly not have, especially during a pandemic. Because like normally, if you make that much money, you probably have a more expensive mortgage or live in a expensive cost of living area in the U.S. or something.
I mean, if she's living in the city, then yeah, that's gonna be astronomical prices up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So her lawyer said that the company had not terminated her, but that the lockout had left her unable to perform her job. Okay, so they didn't like officially fire her. They just like took away all her access to the stuff so she wasn't able to work from home.
You know what's terrible though? You would think that a company, okay, so this woman, she, like we had I don't know if it was this article or the one before, but she had, the cancer diagnosis and everything, and then she had COVID, but she still actually wants to work. So you would think that a company would take that as she's a loyal employee.
Right.
And they would give her this access because she didn't have to do that. She could have just, said, okay, whatever, I'll just figure out another way or I'll just do something else. But she wanted to work. I mean, granted, it's also because she's getting paid $250K a year, but like to tell her like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then to lock her out of everything. That's so sketchy.
Yeah, especially like she's been working there for 18 years. Like that's a long time to stay with one company in the age of like where we have the internet and people move around through companies more often. Like you work there for 18 years, dude. That's wild. That is so long to work at the same company. And he's like not rewarding her loyalty at all, but that sounds like Tony Robbins. So apparently Tony Robbins' spokeswoman said that this was ridiculous and baseless, but I don't trust Tony Robbins, so. She said that Ms. Costa remains a current employee and that the company provided all needed accommodations and continues to pay the complete cost of her medical insurance. And that Ms. Costa said that remarks made by Mr. Robbins on a podcast caused her distress. Oh, and then that's the podcast where he claimed that he saved her life by telling her doctor what to do, which I don't believe he did. But of course, Tony Robbins would think that he did that.
But like that's such an insane story to make up, though. To say that, oh yeah, I saved her and blah, 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 blah. It's just, no words.
But it's like, it's what you expect out of him. Like, after watching that documentary where, like, he was constantly just, like, acting like a therapist when he has no license to do that and acting like a doctor when he had, like, it makes sense that at this point he'd think, like, oh, yeah, and maybe he did actually call the doctor or something, but I don't know. Maybe he thinks that he saved her life because he called the doctor and told them what to do, and the doctor's like, okay, sure thing, buddy, and hung up and continued to do their job. I don't know. That's possible. Just so you guys know, this is everything that we're not reading out of an article is allegedly. We're just theorizing here what he could have possibly done. I don't read Tony Robbins' mind. I don't know what he's actually thinking. But yeah, dude, like, it seems very sketchy. I mean, this article was posted in December 2020, so like last month. I don't know if there's been any updates.
Another thing too is that even if there is an update, if they do settle, it might be confidential, so we might not even know
That's true.
I've actually run into that a few of my recent videos. I've been there was one where there was a lawsuit and it was for Valentis, and they were going through a lawsuit with their their lab and someone else, and their thing was 3.1 million, and their lawsuit was confidential, so no one knows what the settlement was or anything like that. And then there's another video that I'm working on right now. Same thing with them. It was all confidential. So
okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, while this lawsuit is going on, you usually are able to access all of the files from it.
Yeah.
Like, I was able to get all the files from when Rachel Hollis was getting sued by Monaco, but I don't have access to what's happened in the case since then.
Yeah.
But I was able to read the full lawsuit.
Yeah.
So maybe someone who has one of those lawyer logins who was able to, like, send that to me in the past, maybe someone can send me Tony Robbins' lawsuit and I can discuss it in full, because that's fun. Although I'm not a lawyer, so it would be more fun to watch an actual lawyer do that. Just for fun, let's check out Tony Robbins' 4 steps to network marketing success. Just because I'm in the mood to, like, if I'm going to make a video about Tony Robbins, I'm just going to, fully hate on him. So on his website, he's got 4 steps to network marketing success. Oh my God, this is like he didn't even try to make this original. Do you want to become your own boss with flexible hours and make money? Of course you do. One way to get to this stage in your professional life is network marketing. Like, that is, like, he couldn't have even tried to be original about it. That is, like, the definition. That is the exact words that everyone says.
Yep, it is.
Like, he couldn't have even tried to frame it as something else or more interesting. It's just, be your own boss, work flexible hours, make money. Like, yeah, dude, we've all heard that a million times. Like, you can't even try anymore?
I'm shocked that he didn't say boss babe. Oh my gosh, hold on. I want him to say boss babe while jumping in a bouncy house.
Dude, I mean, you're giving me ideas. It's a business model that's dependent on person-to-person sales, a team of people who work together. That's a fun way to say a downline. The leaders of these teams are compensated for the products they sell as well as the products their team members sell. And Chewy's in the background barking like, I know Tony Robbins is lying. Tony Robbins, get out of my house.
That's exactly why Chewy's barking.
Yeah, he's barking. He's like, I heard Tony Robbins saying some bullshit.
I call bullshit on this.
He does.
So he basically is just regurgitating what everyone says.
Yes.
For the most part.
I wonder why is he trying to promote network marketing? Like, what is there a company that is sponsoring him? Or I wonder, is it more just like he knows that people who would join MLMs, like the type of work that they do would be easy for him to sell his coaching services or something?
It's probably the coaching services.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, what was it called? I did a video like March of last year, and it was about the TeamZ app. And that's an app for MLM people to use. And you have to pay for it and everything. Mm-hmm. But the people that made that app, or like came up with the idea or whatever, they were at one point in an MLM. So I think what happens is some of these people, they realize that they can make more money off of MLM, the industry as a whole, if they do these other courses or these other apps, for example, rather than actually doing the work of an MLM rep. So they're still making money off of the industry. And that's why, like, if you look at Rachel Hollis, for example, the reason why she really took off was because a lot of MLM reps were talking about how, like, because she was very for the MLM structure. Yeah. So, and then she turned around and, said something else.
I think this right here is why Tiny Ribbons likes MLM so much, because he is promoting here that it's all about mindset, right? So he thinks he can... It's like, in network marketing, the way you think about yourself matters far more than your tactics, which is objectively false.
Yeah.
Sales tactics are always going to matter more. Like, I get to an extent that, like, if you're working in sales, if you don't actually believe in yourself or the product, it's going to be hard to motivate yourself to want to do the level of work you would have to. So, like, I get where he's coming from, but in reality, like, you could think that you're the best person in the world and that your product is the best product in the world, and if no one actually wants it, you're still not going to be successful. Like, that's just how the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have no business experience, you can succeed in network marketing if you create the right mindset. Oh, I wonder where that's going to take us to.
See, that's something I hear a lot of MLM reps say, is that it's all mindset. And it's like, no, it's not all mindset. You have to have these tools as to how to build your business. Just because you're going to sit there and say, oh, if I'm positive enough, it'll happen. If I just work a little bit harder, it'll happen. No, that's not how it works. You have to know what you're doing. You can't just,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I hate so much, like, that when I read so many books about business education, that they focus so much on mindset and that kind. It's like, the truth is, like, that's only going to get you so far. It might get you to the point where you're ready to start putting in that level of work and ready to take that leap to the next step. But you still need to know, like, actual sales tactics. You need to know how, like, ways to actually get your product in front of people. You need to be able to learn that and figure that out. And, like, the mindset alone is not going to take you there. And I hate that people like Tony keep promoting this. Yeah. Before you even start network marketing, you need to learn how to cultivate positive emotions.
Toxic positivity at its finest.
Oh my God. And emotional seeds to plant in your garden. Oh my God, now I'm going to plant tiny ribbons in a garden. I'm going to take my little tiny ribbons and plant them.
Yes.
Here are 10 emotional seeds. Use them to bring fulfillment and an antidote to negative emotion.
Every single time that I saw the passion thing, and I don't know why, but I just thought of the roaring thing again.
That's what passion is to Tony. Well, because that's the thing. Is like, the problem that couple had was that they, like, didn't have sex enough or something. And Tony was like, oh, that's because your husband is not alpha enough. He needs to learn to stop being a lamb and to roar like a lion. And then apparently the next day at the conference, they're like, oh yeah, we had so much sex last night. Thank you, Tony, for making my husband roar.
I'll never, that little tidbit from that will never leave my brain. That is etched in my brain for the rest of my life. I hope you're happy, Tony Robbins. You will forever be implanted in my brain. All of the reps, like, all the time, whenever I see them posting something or saying something, they're always talking about mindset. Yeah. It bothers me so much.
All right, y'all. So Tony Robbins, Tiny Ribbons, lied about saving his employee from COVID, actually discriminated against her and didn't let her work from home part-time while she recovered from, like, a COVID case that almost killed her. And he's also telling us to just use our mindset to fix everything. So Tony Robbins should just use his mindset to fix the lawsuit. That's my best advice to him. If you've got a negative thing in your life, like a lawsuit, you just need to plant power emotions around it, like a lion roaring and maybe like a man making love to a woman. You need to just plant those things around yourself, and then they will grow so far that the lawsuit will get buried and it won't get any sunlight. That's the answer.
And then you can put a bouncy castle on top of it.
I think that's about all the updates I had on Tony Robbins until I read his book, which I'm not looking forward to. Like, I'm looking forward to it in the sense that, like, I want to do a book review about Tony Robbins. Like, I want to do that so bad. But I'm not looking forward to actually reading it because it looks so terrible. Like, it's so long! I was able to get through Eric Worre's book and Ray Higdon's book and, like, all of those because they're only, like, 100 pages long. But this is so long.
Well, I can't wait for your video on that because I actually am interested to know if there is any advice in there that
so
could be
far
useful.
What I've learned is that sheep teenage girls and investors are all in a Venn diagram, and at the center is following the crowd.
I can't wait for you to like bring context in a video about that, because I'm very curious to know what that context is. Like, how did we get there?
How did we get there, Tony? How did you get there? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out, y'all. So, key takeaways from this video. Tony Robbins lied about saving someone from COVID. Tony Robbins' name is actually Tiny Ribbons when you switch the vowels. Tiny Ribbons is actually 15 years old because he was born on February 29th, 1960, and there have only been 15 February 29th since then. And Tony Robbins' mindset is going to help his lawsuit go away. Thank you all for joining us in making fun of Tony Robbins, because I have no patience for him.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, not just to me, but also to Monica. Both her channel's linked in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the Gray and Gold podcast. You're absolutely gonna love it. I can't promise because I can't read your mind, but like if I could read your mind, then I would feel more confident and promising, because I already feel pretty confident in it. Anyway, check it out, linked in the description below. And if you want to support some small businesses, I'm a small business owner. My business, Forever Home Friends, a series of books, plushies, and toys, and other merch based on real rescue dogs, all linked in the description below as well. Don't forget that this Sunday I will be streaming live at 11 a.m. Central to write my novel, Cancel Sean Boston. So if you want to see some co-writing novel in action, some friends writing a novel together that's going to be all about internet drama and cancel culture, and it's kind of like a romantic comedy. If that sounds interesting, join me at 11 a.m. Central this Sunday. I'll see you then. In the meantime, don't forget to support small businesses, and have a great Friday. Bye!
Hit you some nuts.
There was lots of memes.
Makes me wonder if I should take up lesbianism.
Chicago. You guys asked for it.